welcome to Athar's Garage. In this video, I'll be unboxing the brand new Team Associated RC10 B7. This is the carpet version. So let's get started. So before we actually open up the box, let's take a look at it. It's nicely packaged. It's got, looks like 3 factory seals, one on this side, one on this side, and then one on the bottom. Tells a little bit about the car, about the new features, and then it's got some images about those new features on this side, so we can kind of go through those. So it comes with a 5-gear laydown transmission and low profile motor mount. That basically moves the motor to more central, more forward, and helps with handling. We've got long geometry suspension. That's supposed to help with grip and just making it more predictable and easier to drive. Adjustable kingpin inclination, steering and caster blocks for tuning the steering feel. I've never actually messed with that on other kits, so I don't know how that's gonna affect the car. Vertical ball stud in the front outer camber link position, so that's going to be interesting. You can change the roll centers and tune for that. We've got a height adjustable front bulkhead that's aluminum, so I'm actually excited to see that they included an aluminum bit here, because on the past B64 and B63 those were plastic. They've got standard and high roll center rear hubs, which is going to be interesting to see which one they use in the kit setup. So it looks like it's slightly different than the current ones on the B64 and the B74.2. You've got a high volume gear diff for improved consistency over long runtime, and it uses the gears, the LTC or low torque capacity gears from the B74.2. So interesting to see how that plays out, and if that black cover is either plastic or aluminum. So I'm excited to see what they put in there. We have a new battery strap system. Finally, they did something that most other manufacturers are doing, and having tabs on the sides that you just swivel in and out to hold down the battery. I think there's more adjustable places where you can put the battery more forward or more backwards. But once we open it up and build the kit, we'll take a look at that. There's a new servo mount, which is plastic. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. There's also easy access front and rear roll bars. So I don't really make roll bar changes that much. I usually just, once I figure it out, I just kind of leave it, and it seems to be working fine on carpet. But let's go ahead and open this baby up. All right, seals are broken. Let's go ahead and open this up and see what's inside. All right, everything's nicely and neatly packed. It even tells you the weight of each bag. So let's go ahead and take the bags out and put them in order. All right, looks like there's 10 total bags, 11 total bags. You got your fluids in here, and then the chassis and body. So I'll leave the chassis and body in here in the box for now. But looks like bag 1, we've got our steering bell cranks and ball stud mount for the front, as well as our bearings and hardware that we need. Looks like there's sway bars in here as well with the sway bar hardware. Bag 2 is going to be the front suspension. We've got the new front arms, our side rails. We also have the servo mount. It looks like our carbon shock tower as well. Top mount, or not top mount, the top brace or top mount, I think is what it's called, for the front. 3 looks like steering components in the front. So we've got our caster blocks, steering blocks, and inserts, as well as our axles and stuff in here. Bag 4 looks like the rear suspension arms, pills. We have a new narrow rear, looks like probably the C block in this one. Bag 5. All right, so this is the new rear diff. It does look slightly larger, and this is aluminum. So typically in the B6 family, this piece was not aluminum, and it was actually made out of plastic, and it would warp on the first or second run, and all your fluid would come out. So excited to see that they included this. This was like an $11 option part. The front bulkhead is typically also an $11 or like a $20 option part. So yeah, so there's the aluminum bulkhead. They include the 0 degree in there. So, you know, that's probably $30 to $40 worth of option parts that you would have had to buy on a B6.4. So it's nice to see that they included in these, because those are must-have options. Bag 6 looks like the rear wing mount. Also the gearbox. So we have our top shaft here. We got rear sway bar, new slipper pads, slightly different color. New rear shock towers. That looks slightly different. We got our D block in here as well. Bag 7 are our, looks like the standard and high roll center rear hubs, our rear axles. Bag 8 is going to be the turnbuckles. Doesn't look like much has changed here. And then bag 9, our shock bag. Doesn't look like this is going to be any different than the B6.4. And it looks like the springs are slightly different than what came in the B6.4. It looks like orange and gray springs. Look, I think orange is 1 step stiffer and gray might be 1 step softer than the B6.4. So we have our new battery mount system in here. It looks like they include 2 sets. I think there's a offset on one of them. It says half offset. So interesting to see what they have in the manual about this. And lastly, we have our fluids. Looks like we've got, whoa, 30K in the diff. That's going to be interesting. Looks like we got 35 weight fluid, probably for the front, and 30 weight for the rear, typically speaking. But yeah, the low torque capacity gears allow for smoother action, so that's probably what they want to put 30K in the rear. That'll be interesting to see how that works out. All right, let's take a look at the new body. Cab forward design, nice sweeping lines. Looks pretty cool. It looks like it's a little wider in the front than it typically is. And there's actually, it's hard to see on camera, but this actually raised out on the edges here. So probably for airflow, things like that. So excited to see how this body handles. It doesn't have that long spine like it did on the B6.4, so might help it with rotation. The new wing, we got to cut it out. You can see here that it's got a 7 on both sides. So to, I guess, pay homage to the B7. So that's kind of cool that they have a new wing. Also comes with a new, doesn't look like a new front wing, but it does have the optional front wing if you want to use it. We have our new chassis, nicely machined. So you can see that's very narrow at the front. That allows for the long suspension arm geometry, and in the rear it's pretty narrow. So all right, and there's a bag with, looks like double-sided tape, window masks, Velcro, some product brochure, and the manual. So let's take a look at the manual. All right, here we go. A colored manual. So this is actually pretty cool. So it kind of gives you some introduction, what you might need to complete it. You've got your hardware view, so you can match up all your hardware, make sure it's the right size. Gives you the icons and what each icon means and what to use, when to use it in the manual. So it tells you, like, this symbol indicates a special note or instruction in the manual. So that being said, you can see here on the first page, you've got a few of those notes. But nice to see that they included a slightly colored manual. I'm just surprised that they didn't actually do colored parts, but I guess, you know, it's a little nicer than before. Not as nice as the X-ray manual, but so it looks like they're still going with the similar format in terms of assembly numbers and order of building the car. So we'll end up building the steering bell cranks and front end first, put it on the chassis, servo, mount the servo, do the front arms, front tower, steering, then the rear, build the diff, put the transmission together, then put on the rear end, basically. Interesting to see that they have rear tower covers that are new as well. End up doing the turnbuckles, the shocks, and then the electronics. So it doesn't really give too much of a note for the offset version of the battery. There's a kit setting number 3, looks like it's going to be kind of in the middle, but you can move it forward 2 spots, and then you have the offset, which is kind of hard to see what the difference is, but once we get them out of the box, we can probably take a close look at it. But they have new wing buttons. It's one molded piece, so that's going to be nice to see. They're the instruction, or have some tuning notes, and it's nice to see that they included a little bit more notes than the last time, the B64. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for the unboxing. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Let me know down in the comments if you're going to end up picking one up. Follow along as I do the build like I normally do in my other series. And I'm going to try to get this done soon and post the videos to help out anyone who's building the ones from the first batch. And hopefully I don't have any issues. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.